My friend has no idea how to raise children and has resorted to violence with them their whole life, and it's turned her kid into such a demon that I can't babysit him anymore because I'm scared for the other children's safety. I, 27F, am currently having complications with a friend that we will call Karen, 28F, for this situation. I have a lot of kids, and I mean a lot, 3 weeks from due date currently. I'm also typically our friend group's trusted babysitter when anybody has something come up with their daycare. So I'm pretty used to an array of different personalities when it comes to kids in my everyday life. Myself and this friend have two very different parenting styles. I'm more communicative and personally don't believe in corporal punishment, as redirection/explanations make more sense to me. She is more of the southern style of raise her voice. If you don't hear her the first time, you're gonna feel her hand on the second. That being said, I have finally came to the conclusion of I just can't watch her oldest kid anymore. I don't think I've ever met a more angry child before in my life, and I'm by no means blaming the child for his temperament, but it's just not something that I can personally handle anymore. He doesn't follow any sort of directions, even simple ones, without lashing out violently. He goes out of his way to physically hurt anything without any warning, and I mean anything. The cat, any child, big kid, adult, the freaking houseplants. The scary part is he always laughs and then follows up with name-calling, swearing, or a lovely shrieking sound that would put any coyote to shame. I know this is really messed up to say, but it's like a rerun of the Orphan movie in real life when dealing with this kid. Yesterday he walked up to me asking for a snack, and before I could even lift my head from washing dishes he slapped me as hard as he could. It took everything in me to keep from crying because that would freak out my littlest babies in the house. I put him in my spare room, time out, away from the other kids so I could not only take a breath, but reduce the amount of damage that he was currently doing in that moment. Mind you, this situation is completely foreign to me because I can't even count how many kids I've watched over the years, and I've never found myself afraid of a kid. After the incident I called Karen and told her she needed to immediately come get her son and make other arrangements for him, but I could handle her youngest still to help her save money. She went on to say he's really not that bad and she doesn't think it's fair that I've never said I wouldn't watch anyone else's kids. After months of having patience, I finally snapped and said, well, none of our other friends have kids that act like a literal demon. I asked her if he really wasn't that bad, then why had he slapped me in the face and why was he currently tearing apart my spare bedroom? If he was so easy to handle, then why do I have to constantly be in fear that he's gonna hurt not just me but another child in my care? She said she couldn't leave work and I needed to learn how to better manage the kids in my care. I was honestly so shocked and frustrated that I got on Facebook and messaged the father of her kids to come get them, even though I know it wasn't his day. I tried to call her again to let her know he was coming to get them, but she wouldn't answer her phone for myself or him. At 8 p.m. that night, 4 hours after she was supposed to be off, she showed up at my house looking for her kids. I told her they were with their father and her son's behavior has been reported to Dad. Now she's saying I potentially ruined her court case for primary custody because Dad had to pick up the kids and realized she was MIA with no idea that he even had the kids for hours. I told her it wasn't my fault, and she had 2 breaks she could have called either of us back on, but chose not to. So Reddit, am I the jerk here? Update. So do I have a wild ride for you guys? A ton has happened in the last week and some change, so I'm going to TLDR most of it. Dad got emergency custody the following morning after spending the night getting an emergency mental health evaluation at our local hospital. They kept the kid for 3 days and we took that time to help Dad get his house ready for primary parenting. The lawyer went to Karen's place on Monday for the unexpected home visit, and to put it bluntly, there was a lot more going on than any of us realized. The kids' belongings were placed in a pile beside the couch where the kids have apparently been sleeping for the last month. One of the 5 bedrooms in her house is completely unlivable, and the 3 rooms outside of her own are being subleased to strangers. Yes, you're reading that right, she took away her children's rooms and put strangers in there. They also documented smells of burning plastic and urine throughout the household, and there is no pets in the home. She was directed to submit a drug test, and as of now she still has not done that. I am absolutely mortified of the conditions those babies have been living in for months without any of us in the friend group realizing. It also makes sense because she stopped hosting get-togethers shortly after her separation, and we all just assumed she was taking time for herself. Now the icing on the cake, a lot of you warned me that she would likely try to lash out toward me, and you were right because she absolutely did. She tried to call social services claiming that I had an illegal daycare running in my home. Well, of course a social worker did show up, but thankfully the situation was clarified within the same day. I explained that 5 of the kids in my house were my own biological kids and the 2 others I was watching for my cousin without personal pay. Gave them receipts and my last couple bank statements as proof and should be getting a letter within the next week closing the case as unfounded. They have a hearing Friday to establish custody and the lawyer has already said it will go to Dad. Karen will get supervised visitation if she petitions for it. If anything changes or something else, Crazy happens, I'll definitely be updating again, but thank you guys.